Tonight, we dive into one of the strangest and most controversial UFO conspiracies of the modern era, Project Serpo, a story of a secret deal with extraterrestrials, 12 humans sent across the stars, and whispers of technology and knowledge beyond imagination. It begins, as so many UFO legends do, with the infamous Roswell crash of 1947. According to the Serpo narrative, not all of the beings from the Roswell crash perished. At least one survived. This survivor, sometimes described as an EBEN, short for extraterrestrial biological entity, became the link between humanity and the civilization of Zeta Reticuli, a binary star system roughly 39 light years away. What followed, according to the story, was a series of cautious communications between US officials and these visitors. Eventually, an extraordinary proposition was made: an exchange program. 12 carefully selected American military personnel would leave Earth, live on the planet Serpo, and learn everything they could about its people, culture, and technology. In return, the aliens would gain insight into humanity. The mission was set for 1965. These 12 were trained in science, linguistics, survival, and medicine. They said goodbye to their families forever. In most cases, since their departure was classified, then under the utmost secrecy, they boarded an alien craft and vanished from Earth. The accounts that trickle back decades later describe Serpo as a planet illuminated by two suns with long days and thin air. The EBENs, as the aliens were called, lived communally. There was no currency, no concept of poverty. Food was distributed freely, shelter provided to all. To the Americans, life was both fascinating and difficult. Some reports claim the climate was harsh, the food hard to digest, and the length of the days exhausting. Of the 12, only 8 would ever return. 2 reportedly died during the mission. The other 2, by choice, remained behind on Serpo permanently. In 1978, more than a decade after their departure, the surviving members came home. They were meant to stay for 10 years. Instead, they were gone for 12. Rumours suggest they brought back mountains of data, scientific notes, cultural observations, and possibly even alien technology. But there were also consequences. Their bodies had adapted to Serpo's environment, and many allegedly suffered health issues upon their return. Reintegration into Earth society proved nearly impossible. The Serpo story might remain buried forever, if not for a series of leaks across the decades. The first major crack came in the early 1980s. In 1983, a journalist working on a documentary about extraterrestrial contact was approached by a man claiming to be connected to US Air Force intelligence. He promised to provide classified files that would confirm the Serpo mission, but at the last moment, he backed out. The documents never surfaced, leaving only whispers of what could have been. Then, in 2005, the story re-emerged with force. A series of anonymous emails were circulated through a UFO discussion group run by researcher Victor Martinez. These messages, allegedly from a former intelligence officer, outlined the details of the Serpo exchange: names, dates, even descriptions of the planet. It was this leak that made Project Serpo a modern UFO legend. Skeptics argue that Serpo is nothing more than a hoax, an elaborate piece of disinformation created by intelligence agencies to muddy the waters around UFO research. They point out the lack of verifiable proof, the inconsistencies between accounts, and the convenient anonymity of the alleged inside us. But believers see a different picture. They argue that the persistence of details across decades, Roswell, the Evans, the exchange program, points to something real beneath the noise. Some even suggest that the Serpo volunteers provided humanity with a leap in technology, advances in computing, communication, and aerospace that reshaped the late 20th century. Project Serpo isn't an isolated story. It's tied to a broader web of UFO lore. The secretive Majestic 12 group, the alleged government cover-ups of alien contact, and even Cold War era fears that other nations might strike their own deals with non-human intelligences. Taken together, Serpo becomes more than just a wild tale. It's part of a mythos, a tapestry of secrecy, science fiction, and conspiracy that defies much of modern UFO culture. So where does that leave us? 12 Americans, a distant planet, and a mission that might never have happened, or that changed history in ways we're only beginning to understand. What do you believe? Was Project Serpo the ultimate human-alien exchange program? Or just one of the greatest UFO hoaxes ever told?